Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the patch notes for patch 6.11a. It's 5:50 in the morning right now, and I wouldn't normally be recording this, but I heard there were some quick PvP changes I could go over, so as soon as I could hop up out of bed, decided, let's get this video done before I start streaming for the day, and sure enough, details on adjustments to PvP actions and several resolved issues. Now, as a reminder, this is not patch 6.15 or 6.18, which do have some other guaranteed contents in them, such as Hildebrand, Arcus Adara custom deliveries. We also don't know exactly which patch will have the Omega series and the Tataru series, and data center travel is planned for patch 6.18. So, with that out of the way, none of those things are in this patch. So those are the patch numbers you're going to be looking for. Some sort of notification. Can't be too much longer before 6.15 at this point. So scrolling down right into PvP actions. This is the first thing that's popped up here. So before I even go over these, again, it's rare that we get to look at so frequent of an... Sorry, Ivy. Ivy, you want to be in the video? Hey. I know. Your bowl is soaking. Ivy, your bowl is soaking. Okay. So it's so rare that we're used to like keeping an eye out for PvP changes because we're just not used to them caring enough. So the adjustments are welcome. And I'm already glad to see that they are taking frequent adjustments to PvP more seriously than they have in the past. Now with that, let's see what we've got here. Gunbreaker, Rough Divide, increased damage and healing potency of No Mercy. Okay, so giving them even more damage. It looks like they're really trying to lean into Gunbreaker's damage aspects as opposed to leading into their versatility aspects. The whole junctioning thing, really cool on the surface, but it's just not used. It's just not utilized very much. So in all the adjustments we've seen for Gunbreaker so far have really seemed to give them more of a damage edge. And I wonder if there is a breaking point where that does just make them such a powerhouse that you kind of see people struggling to do anything about them in solo queue. Whether or not in a tournament format, Ivy, stop causing so much trouble. She's waiting on her bowl to be filled. That's fine. It's entertainment for you guys. I wonder if they just ever lean into that, if they ever lean into being able to junction two different roles at once so that you can have some tankiness, and maybe in that case they would reduce some of their damage output, or if they're just going to keep leaning into the damage output for Gunbreaker. For Relentless Rush, the additional effective reduced damage by 25% has been added. I mean, I guess that kind of does lean into some more defensive aspects of it, Relentless Rush being their ultimate, if memory serves from the naming convention. It's been a while since I've had to talk about Gunbreaker's ultimate, which is just giving them a little bit more power. Now, it's still a little too easy to counter, but in solo queue, a lot of people aren't great at tracking the Gunbreaker ultimate, so giving them this little bonus effect is going to make them a lot more effective when they go in to try and land a bunch of AoE amplification stacks before eventually landing the damage and the stun at the end. Now, Bard, a little surprised to see on this list, but I mean, maybe not that surprised. Range Physical they're not that desirable in solo queue. You really are looking for Red Mage, Ninja, even Monk with the more recent buffs, a little bit more dangerous to deal with. It's just they're not jobs you look forward to. But Bard at least has the silence, so people tend to like having it on the team. Not to mention the limit break being incredibly valuable. All the damage amplification, the buffs that they give, very valuable. But you want to be able to make a difference as an individual job. Oh my God, Ivy! Hey, stop. She's upset because I'm speaking, but there's no food in the bowl yet because their bowl is soaking. I just woke up. So Powerful Shot just getting a potency buff by 1,000 and Imperial Shot by 1,000, which the Imperial Arrow is more important here because if you have 3 of those stacked up, obviously this becomes a 12,000 potency hit instead of a 9,000 potency hit, which is pretty serious given that, that just hits you all at once, but it's something Bard probably needs to have more of a direct impact on the damaging aspects of the fight outside of their silence and their buffs, but we'll see if that ends up pushing them a little too far. Now, Machinist, man, I was so disappointed that Bioblaster thing, its interaction with Wildfire, was not intended because it was really difficult for the enemy to track. You had to be very aware that's how Machinist worked, and I kind of like that little nuance to it. So in return, looks like they're just giving them even more buffs on top of what they gave them last time. Drill now 10,000 base potency, 20,000 when analyzed. Chainsaw 12,000. They need to do something else with Chainsaw. This whole one-shot deal with Chainsaw needs to just be completely reworked, in my opinion. And Bioblaster gets an extra damage tick. It's 12 seconds instead of 9 seconds now. I mean, that's fine, but I still miss the old unintended interaction that they bug fixed. Now for Dancer, Honing Dance reduces the damage they take for the duration now. I think that's a really nice change for it. Dancer, we've been seeing a lot more of in PvP in recent times, ever since the last set of updates, but with Honing Dance, that's definitely going to be really nice for, well, I mean, a number of things. Just it's already a point-blank skill that you have to channel, so being able to be a little more survivable during it is welcome. Not to mention, it kind of even makes it an escape tool now if you're being chased while you're running away from an opponent and you don't have any more en avance, or you just need to reduce the damage by some capacity to help out. It's there, and it's nice. Fan Dance also getting an extra 1,000 potency. That's nice, but nothing make or break. Black Mage. Now, Black Mage probably needs some serious changes, so the fact that this list is so robust tells me that it will be in a much better spot before even reading what it says. Looks like all the Astral Fire and Umbral Ice durations went up. That's pretty good. I always felt like it was just 15 seconds wasn't enough. The way PvP is paced for Black Mage, it's not like you get to sit there and cast in the higher ranks. People just jump on you. And so trying to actually get through your basic 3 transformations with Astral Fire and Umbral Ice, it just doesn't happen like that very often. So at the very least, this gives you an opportunity to be to get away, be forgotten about, and then go back in and still have some power left over. Burst at its potency and its barrier increase. That's nice. Very common to leap in, do burst for a big burst of damage, and then get the barrier and then teleport your way out. So I'm a big fan of that. Paradox now has 2 charges. You know, I hadn't really thought about that, but I really like that. Paradox is a great way of utilizing those stacks in order to get the burn effects, in order to get the freeze effects on the ice, just to buff it to the maximum power after you've landed a single hit. And it's generally, when I have that up, it is about placing one of the 2 effects on the opponent, buffing it to the max, and then using I can't remember the name, because I have done actually a bit of Black Mage in Crystal. And then you trigger the effect. What's it called? Supercharge? I don't remember what it's called. The giant circle thing. I can't remember. I'm sorry for forgetting. But that is a big way of going about your damage. So having an extra stack of that makes you a lot more... it gives you a lot more burst. It's still not enough burst to take someone from like 100 to 0, most likely, just because of how you have to access that damage. But it's going to make team fighting a lot nicer on them. Nightwing, Half Asleep, now also reduces movement speed by 50%. Oh. All right, that's a lot. That's a really big buff. Now, it looks like the Half Asleep duration's been reduced to 3 seconds, and the sleep duration's been reduced to 3 seconds. But that's actually pretty good. I know it looks like a nerf in exchange. Well, not even a nerf. It looks like an exchange in power. But by Half Asleep only being 3 seconds, it means the sleep activates faster. And then the sleep being 3 seconds is a countermeasure. That's more of a power adjustment, because Half Asleep is being given all of this extra power on top of it. And my headset battery's gonna die. I'm just gonna take out the battery and I'll replace it at the end of the video. That way it doesn't, I might as well just take the whole headset off at this point. Everything's trying to get in the way of my morning recordings because I just got up and decided to do this. Okay. Anyway, moving on, the Nightwing change, super big. It's going to make it way more annoying to deal with in matches. Fire 4, having its cast time reduced. Yeah, those long cast times do not feel good in PvP. And then Astral Fire having its duration increased. Flare also having its cast time reduced, and its damage to the primary target going up considerably, 4,000. I mean, this is actually, more than anything, a huge buff to Soul Resonance. Because Soul Resonance is just flare, or freeze. And I can already see below this that Blizzard 4 and Freeze essentially got the exact same treatment as Fire 4 and Flare. So that's a huge buff to Soul Resonance, specifically the damage element. The cast time element supposed to be a buff to your, I guess, your average rotation in PvP. But again, it's so difficult to get into actually using Flare or Freeze that it's definitely nice. It'll matter a lot more, especially in lower tier matches where focus targeting on players is much worse. But it's still going to be rough for them to actually sit there and ever cast. I think there are other things they could have done in regards to cast times with Black Mage, instead of making them less than 1.5 seconds, which again is okay. Giving them more access to Swiftcast outside of just a couple of actions probably would have been the better tool. Obviously, most people will jump in and use Burst, and they'll use an instant cast on that, which means they don't have it for things like Fire 4 or Flare. So making burst instant cast on its own probably would have helped a big deal. Paradox also granting a swift cast probably would have been something I would have liked to have seen instead. But, you know, Black Mage's Soul Resonance, which is here at the very end with another change of its own, is going to be seeing a lot more power. And for Soul Resonance, they now take 20% less damage for 15 seconds. I mean, that's great. Is it the difference maker? You know, honestly, it probably could be. In a lot of fights, if you see a Black Mage go for Soul Resonance, you don't want to leave them alone. But now going after them incurs, you know, only doing 80% of your normal damage. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how this actually ends up affecting Black Mage, because a lot of these changes are okay for them. But I think the Nightwing change is going to be the big one. The 50% movement speed reduction, the half asleep, followed by the sleep. I mean, it also means you get access to the damage amplification a little bit faster, and it more likely incurs somebody to just try to cleanse it and then be completely open to other effects from your team, which can be monstrous, especially if you happen to land Nightwing while it's like placed in a group of people. Oh, man. Yeah, really curious to see how Black Mage ends up working out with all those changes. Summoner also getting some buffs here. Slipstream's potency being increased. The Windstorm it leaves behind having its potency increased. The Aegis having its damage reduction increased. The Barrier potency being increased. You know, Summoner I always saw doing okay, but it only looked a lot worse after Red Mage really picked up in popularity. So to see them getting all these potency and damage reduction buffs with the Barrier, with the damage on Mountain Buster, Revelation, Slipstream, it'll be nice, because I think Summoners probably feel this. You feel really pressured to go on to Red Mage if you're a caster in PvP right now. And I do see Red Mage is next on the list. So giving them some sort of buffs or adjustments so they feel a little bit better, especially with Summoner, because your combo is a really big part of how you actually have an impact on the game. The big thing is, honestly, here is Revelation being buffed. There is almost no time I've seen people use Phoenix. And so seeing Revelation buffed tells me they really want you to consider using Phoenix instead of Bahamut. But I don't know if Revelation is enough to make people want to do that. So I think they'll need... Oh, good, my other cat is here now. What's up, Aloha? See, they're just all over me in the morning. Their bowls are soaking at 6 a.m. It is 6:03, so that's why they're upset with me right now. Yeah, again, I'm not really sure if we're going to be seeing any more Phoenix because of that. Core, they're reducing some of the dual potential. So Core reduces the damage you take from that target and increases the damage you deal to that target. This is making it so you don't take, that it's only 10% less damage that you take, Aloha, instead of 20%. So making it so they're not as, their dueling potential isn't as strong. But honestly, I still think the silence, the line AoE silence is the big thing that they need to take a look at with resolution. So, I mean, this helps. This definitely helps. Red Mage, you know, going to be feeling that, but still going to be really strong. I'm really curious to see how the caster roll looks. Might take a look at that today, in all honesty. And Astro having Aspected Benefic buffed up, the cure potency on it being increased, the maximum cure potency being reduced, which is a bit of an interesting thing. The help text in 6.11 is erroneous, listing a base potency of 4,000 and a maximum potency of 8,000. Oh, okay, so it was 12,000, but it listed 8,000, and now it's only 10,000. Okay, this is, I don't know. This change didn't seem like this part didn't. Actually, you know what? Yeah, Astro is actually super powerful right now. It's making the rounds, especially in organized PvP tournaments. So making it 12,000 to 10,000 probably gives them a little bit. It makes it more playable if you use it at any point, but it's not as powerful when used at its absolute best. So actually, probably an okay change for Astro at the end of things. Now, it looks like there is one change to Crystalline Conflict itself. Players in the Crystal tier can now be matched with players who are in Diamond with 1 Rising Star or higher. No more Diamond 5 players in my Crystal matches. No more Diamond 4 players in my Crystal matches, it sounds like. That's probably for the better, because Diamond players, if you're Diamond 5, you start getting matched up against Crystal players. It doesn't feel great. Honestly, as any sort of Diamond player, you need to be willing to play with Crystal players. It doesn't make sense to not be willing to play with Crystal players. But there is a bit of an issue with climbing through Diamond in that sometimes Crystal players don't take the matches as seriously because they're already Crystal. Some of them just want to keep PvPing. And so you do see some wilder things when more Crystal players are involved with games. So I do feel bad for the Diamond players trying to climb up, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles at this point. And it seems like they're going to be making more matchmaking adjustments in the future. So I don't know. Maybe that won't be as big a problem in the future, but I have a feeling it'll always be a problem. No more automatic logout. Finally getting rid of this. It stuck around for quite some time, and well, now it's gone. This includes all areas, including the firmament. I guess they felt the need to differentiate that because of the housing areas. And then we just have a bunch of resolved issues. Playing Paladin and PvE where Holy Spirit and Holy Circle did not increase when the player... Don't most Paladins not use that last stat of Request Cat? I don't think it was because of a bug or anything. I think it's just fairly common for Paladins to only do 4 Holy Spirit so they can actually fit more of the end of the combo into the buff. But either way, quick bug fix just means if you are using all 5 for any particular reason, I guess you're no longer dealing less damage. Primal Scream failed to note the potency of Primal Rend and Chaotic Cyclones increase. Oh, okay, so anything that's a description but it's functioning as intended, I kind of don't care about, in all honesty. And it looks like there's actually quite a few of these. What's this one? An issue wherein attempting to execute the Bard PvE action Wanderer's Minuet multiple times in quick succession prevented the player from queuing another action? I never noticed that. That's PvE, too. So I guess I don't press it rapid times in quick succession very often. Okay, well, I guess that's a good thing to fix then. I hadn't noticed that. An issue when the barrier potency listed was incorrect. It was functioning as intended, but okay, just making sure. Gunbreaker PvP action terminal trigger. Oh, wait a minute. So Relentless Rush. Why did I think is terminal trigger the LB? Because that's a whole Wildfire failed to note their attack radius is 5 yalms. Terminal trigger. See, now all the things I said about Relentless Rush back here. Hold on, I'm gonna have to grab the PvP actions real quick because I think terminal trigger might be the Gunbreaker PvP. Let's do PvP job guide. Pull up. No, that's Ninja. Let me pull up Gunbreaker. Relentless Rush. Relentless Rush. See, this is what happens when you have to talk about a job that you don't play that much. No, Relentless... Oh, Terminal Trigger is the final hit. Yeah, that's right. I forgot they have 2 different names. Okay, that's good. Okay, just so I wasn't wrong. Okay, good. I don't have to go back and fix all of that. Only in descriptions, they function as intended. Okay. PvP, we're in a Red Mage. Action displacement, increased healing potency of the limit. You know what? I so very rarely saw the white shift... Southern Cross that I never noticed this, so that's fine. And then a few other things were addressed. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for the patch 6.11a. Changes, largely the PvP changes that we went over. Anyway, I got to go get ready for stream and feed my cats and cook breakfast and all this other stuff. So I'm going to go do that. So thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned. I'm working on the Versus series at the moment, plus a Final Fantasy XI video. Plus, I still have to work on the Dragon Song Ultimate guides. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, take care.